Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Coffee and Cannoli. Joined once again by Putty over here, the Putty Man, Gamer Podheads, and we have Campo Reviews down below over here on the bottom,
aka
Pickles Tuscanero.
He's always on the bottom. That's his
Pickles Tuscanero.
I'm going to bring a pickle to the next episode, I swear.
On this episode, due to popular demand with our Sega Genesis episode, we decided to come back with a Super Nintendo episode, highly requested for it. So we decided to get the crew back together for this one. We're going to do our top 5 SNES games, some honorable mentions, and our SNES memories growing up. So let's go, Putty Man. You can go ahead with the first one.
Okay, so my first one, or number 5, I should say, is actually Mario Paint. See, the thing is a lot of people might have been not aware of this, but this was like my first forte into using a mouse. so it was delightful to make my own animations. And I mean, you got to think, back in that day, there was not much to do unless you had a really good computer. So to have something like that was amazing. Creativity.
Well, the music maker in that thing was fantastic.
Oh yeah, you go on YouTube right now, just everyone who's watching this, and look up Mario Paint music. They make like modern songs like amazingly on it.
Oh, go look up Billie Eilish "Bad Guy" Mario Paint.
No way, really? I've never heard that. I've got to listen to it. I've got
to topic.
Yeah, that's really, really good. Campo, number 5.
Okay, so I capsed on this one.
I put it in the marinara sauce, didn't you?
I'm just burning the midnight marinara. I got number 5, a tie between Mario RPG and Earthbound World.
Ooh, Earthbound World.
That was a really good one. My number 5 is the original Donkey Kong Country.
Ooh,
good choice.
Yeah, that's actually that's funny you say that because that's my number 4.
That's
there you go.
4.
God, that was 4.
Such a wait. Is it me already?
Yeah, number 4.
Yeah, very much. Yeah,
number 4, Mega Man X.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good throw in there. I didn't even think about that. I've got like strictly Nintendo properties over here.
F-Zero.
Dang, good one too.
That's a good one.
Yep. Well, then I guess we'll go on to my 3. My 3 is The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Ooh.
Well, my 3 is Super Mario World. I don't know if he says that, but
my number 3 is the same as Putty Man, Link to the Past.
Love it. Such a great game. All right, so my number 2 is actually Super Metroid.
Well, that's funny because my number 2 is Final Fantasy 3-6.
Well, that's real funny.
That's mine as well. Final Fantasy 3-6, whatever you want to call it.
We all have the same number 1?
I don't think so.
No, because I've got for my number 1, I've got Super Mario World.
Okay. Well, for my number 1, I have Chrono Trigger.
Ooh.
Whereas my number 1 is Super Mario World as well.
Nice.
Terrible fucking people. Sorry.
Yeah. Wow, really? Super Mario World like set the standard for like a lot of platformers.
I agree. Or we're just opening the floor.
Yeah. We'll open the floor. We'll throw out honorable mentions as we make our discussion if you want. Unless you want to go through the top 5 again.
Oh, you want to say it again?
Buddy, go through your top 5 again.
Okay, so I'll just go through all of them?
Yeah.
Okay, so mine was Mario Paint number 5. Number 4 was Donkey Kong Country. Number 3 was Link to the Past, Legend of Zelda. 2 Super Metroid, and 1 Super Mario World.
Campo?
I got for number 5 is a tie, Mario RPG and Earthbound. Number 4, Mega Man X. Number 3, Super Mario World. Number 2, Final Fantasy 3-6, and number 1, Chrono Trigger.
Mine was Donkey Kong Country, F-Zero, Link to the Past, Final Fantasy 3-6, and Super Mario World. So we got to get into after what the 3-6 means for some people in case they don't know.
I want to yell at Putty. So yes, Super Mario World changed the face of platformers, but also it's not too far past what Super Mario 3 already did for platforming.
True.
And if you're just going based on the game, Chrono Trigger is a far superior game to Super Mario World.
Well, here's the thing. I loved Chrono Trigger. I loved it to death and everything. I'm not saying... the reason I say that is because Chrono Trigger is a great story. I guess what it is for me, the reason Super Mario World has that number 1 is because replayability. Even to this day, when I go back to it, it sucks me in. it's like it's addictive, and I think it's because it's longevity. It's one of those games that even years down the road, if you just remastered that game but kept everything the same, people would buy it because it's that solid of a game in general, just as a whole. There's nothing in my eyes that ever felt was broken with that game.
Well,
You know
like
what I
I
mean?
said, it's not number 3 on my list. It's just, to me, in my opinion, it wasn't even as much fun as I had with it. I would rather replay Chrono Trigger. It's just a personal thing, right? This is not an objective list. If I was being objective, Super Mario World probably wouldn't even be on my list.
Well, see, here's the thing.
I would have Zelda.
Yeah,
I think my answer could have been swayed based on like how other things, because like there was the whole common thing, kind of like what we did the Kevin Smith thing, where everyone was like, we always go for Clerks, and that's kind of what the Super Mario World thing did. But I think the reason why I said I'm still sticking with that is because I actually wanted to put Super Metroid as number 1. I freaking loved Super Metroid, but then I was like, but at the same time, I feel like Super Mario World has one of those things where I can go back to it just because it has more of a more nostalgia feel that's much better than Metroid. And that's not saying anything bad about Metroid. It's just because it's so well made.
Going back to, I kind of agree with what you're saying. For me, it's very easy. Like, for example, I have on my Switch, I have the SNES and the NES, I guess whatever you want to call it, the micro consoles, whatever you call them, on the Switch. And I'll still, it's an easy pick and play. You know what I mean? If you're on the bus, you pick it up and play it. It's an easy.
I have the emulator. I have Super Nintendo controllers for my computer. I mean, this is a game you can go back to. It's also a game that if we're going back to it, you don't want to play with me because I'm going to smash my controller on you at some point. But I mean, it does have the replayability maybe of like only other game is like Super Mario 1 and 3. Yeah, because like you don't want to ever go back and play Super Mario 2. I mean, it's not that bad of a game, but that's not the one you go to, right?
It's
like,
always 3. If
Mario
you go to the NES,
is addictive in the sense that you hop on it and you want to beat it. Like Super Mario World, you're gonna hop on it, you're gonna play for like 20 minutes, and you're gonna get off because you're gonna hit a point where it's like, I forgot how to beat this stupid thing, and then you will come back the next time and beat it. Anyways, it's a great game.
It is. It is. For me, like going back to your number 1, John, though, is the fact that I decided I only wanted 1 RPG and 1 Square Enix game.
Yeah. So
I see what you're saying there.
My logic for this was like, usually we don't always have like a stipulation, but like we've been having them a little bit lately. And this one I wanted to have 0, just like the Sega Genesis one. I just wanted to put
your favorite games.
The 6th game, well, 6 because I have 2 at 5.
Yeah.
Games that I played the most. So, I mean, let's talk Final Fantasy 3-6 anyways, because you wanted to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
It's Final Fantasy 3 in the US.
Or US.
3 in the US.
Final Fantasy 6 in Japan. Which this
so
is the
Final
funny
Fantasy
part,
2 and was it Final Fantasy 2 and 5?
Final Fantasy 2 is 4.
Never came out. Never came out.
No, it never came out.
The Japanese Final Fantasy 2 never came out.
The Japanese Final Fantasy 4 is Final Fantasy 2 here is what I meant.
Yes,
sorry.
Yeah.
And so then 5
2, 3, and
what
5.
Is 5?
5 is Japanese only.
Yeah, I remember there was
one because I never could figure that out. I'm like, how does it go from 4 to 6?
Yeah. So 2, 3, and 5 Japanese releases never came to North America. The first
one was on NES.
Yeah, the first one that came, the first time 3 ever came to North America was on the DS or the 3DS.
Yeah. There wasn't like a pack 2 or was it like or no?
That was on the PlayStation. The PlayStation released all the Final Fantasy games except 3 on the PlayStation 1. They had the Final Fantasy Origins, which was 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. Then they had Final Fantasy Anthology, which had Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy 4. And then there was the Final Fantasy 5 and 6 2-pack as well.
Which is funny too, because we're talking about Square Enix. And I also want to throw out there because a lot of people don't know about like Secret of Mana as well.
Yes,
one of those other games.
Secret of Mana is a great game. I have to agree.
Legend of Mana,
Legend of Mana.
Breath of Fire.
Dragon Quest isn't Dragon Quest the game that they gave us instead of Final Fantasy because
on the original Nintendo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was Dragon Warrior.
No, so which was the game they gave us on Super Nintendo because the Japanese were like, white people are too stupid to play this game. We're going to give them...
Final Fantasy World or something like that?
Yeah, but it was called something else.
It was called Final Fantasy something. I forgot what it was called, but I remember I don't know if you guys watched The Gaming Historian.
Yeah.
He did an episode on that one, on the Final Fantasy that was not a Final Fantasy game, but they called it Final Fantasy because they thought it'd be too hard.
I believe Secret of Mana isn't that also made by Square Enix?
I believe so. Yeah, it's
And
another Square.
That was a game they gave us because they didn't think we were good enough to play Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Final Fantasy. Sorry, go, Putty, go.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was just gonna. You're sticking with the Final Fantasy because I was gonna make a note to people that might be watching. What a lot of people don't realize is there was a time where Japan felt there were a lot of games that were too hard because they would send them to America, and then the people at like Nintendo of America say this is too hard. For example, and this is probably the biggest one, Super Mario Brothers 2 was actually different. The Lost Levels was actually
Doki Doki Panic.
Exactly, Doki Doki Panic is the one we got in America, which is called Super Mario Bros. 2. But the Lost Levels are the ones they got in Japan called Super Mario Bros. 2. And they did that because the guys here at Nintendo of America said, "Oh wait, this is too hard." They didn't give us a chance in America to say, "Hey, listen, we can do this." It's like
no, but this is the difference, and I'll tell you, it's not about we can do this because that sounded like you're about to go on some American rant and like wave a flag.
Well, just in general,
this is the reasoning why in Japan video games were very much directed at adults. Even if you were a kid, you could play it. They had kids type games, but it was for adults. In America, it was very much only younger people under the age of 13 that were gaming at that time. Like obviously adults had it and stuff because Atari existed and that was but like it was aimed at families in America. In the States, it was like aimed at the college student.
It was called the Famicom, right?
Yeah.
Family computer.
Yeah. In Japan, it was about like it was for like college students, high school people. That's what they were aiming their stuff at. Which I get it, but also I don't care. Final Fantasy 3-6 is, in my opinion, one of the best games ever made. Period.
The greatest Final Fantasy game, in my opinion, as well.
And I think, to me, Chrono Trigger is just more fun. It has more fun characters. Like Final Fantasy 3-6 is super dark. It's very like gritty. Which playing the remake of Final Fantasy 7, I see the same idea in it. It has like some fun moments, but it's mostly dark. Chrono Trigger is like a very light game.
It's very cyberpunk.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy, but I mean, going back to Chrono Trigger though, like that game was fantastic. In the terms of you also had artwork by Toriyama.
Yeah.
Right, Akira Toriyama of Dragon Ball fame. He did all the artwork for Chrono Trigger and even its sequel on the PS1. Chrono
you can
Cross.
tell by the hair.
They all look like Trunks, but no. But he did. I don't know if you guys have ever played the sequel, Chrono Trigger, on the PlayStation.
No, Chrono Cross.
Chrono Cross.
I have. I just bought it recently, but I got the greatest hits one, so I'm kind of upset because I wanted the regular one. But
which is the one I have.
Yeah. Hey.
I showed you the photo the other day.
Yeah. But at least I got Final Fantasy 7 and 9 in
the original packaging
version.
Yeah. Well, I bought those
4-disc.
Those are still. I still have them in original packaging. I showed you like all the Final Fantasy games that I have in original packaging.
Okay,
but
so I want to bring one up. So neither one of you have a Mega Man game. Do you have any on your honorable mentions that are
Mega Man X was on my honorable mentions?
Because X2 is also a really good game.
Yes, the X series.
I did play the X series. It's just I don't know why I didn't put it on the list. Maybe because I was so focused on the original Mega Man that X didn't like. X was not good. I'm not trying to downfall at all, but I think that's why I totally forgot about it. Was because I literally did all Nintendo franchise except for 2 honorable mentions, and even my other 3 honorable mentions are literally Nintendo franchises. So it's
I mean,
really weird.
that's fair. But like Mega Man's lifespan, just quickly, like the games on the NES are great. They were way ahead of their time for like platformers. Then the X series on Super Nintendo was like they upped the ante, and then the Legend series on PlayStation was
Didn't they also release 7 on the Super Nintendo? Right,
7 was on Super Nintendo, but the original series went up to 10, and then Mega Man
11
X
now.
Is it 11? Oh
they just
11
released 11. Yeah,
X series started, and then on PlayStation they had the Legend series, which is also great. Plus there was a cartoon that was cool, but. I mean, okay, I'm going to just give honorable mentions.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I just want to say the ones you guys had. So immediately my next ones on my list was Super Metroid, which I love.
Yep, same here.
Link to the Past. I have Donkey Kong, the whole series, which we could talk about that. But I want to say this one, because this is the only one that nobody had, was Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island.
I didn't like Yoshi's Island.
What?
The baby Mario drove me nuts.
Okay,
really?
That was annoying as hell. I'm not gonna lie.
Like every 3 seconds. Okay, I had to put it down. Like, I mean,
I had to put it down. Why? You killed the baby?
Exactly. No, it's like, I mean, gameplay wise, the mechanics were good. Like the animation, the way it was like cell drawn on the anime, like it looked good. It looked amazing, but it's just that baby Mario drove me nuts.
I think the visuals in that game are a benchmark.
Yeah.
And that's what's special about that.
Because that was close towards the end of its lifespan too, wasn't it?
And the game, the smoothness of that game was really well done.
But I mean, RPG is on there for sure. Super Mario RPG. Star Fox.
I don't even have Star Fox on my list, but I hopped on Star Fox at 64. I'm not going to lie to you. I never even played the Super Nintendo.
Star Fox was amazing on Super Nintendo.
I saw it at my cousin's house, and the polygonal graphics, I couldn't do it. Like there was just something in my brain. It made me like sick when I played it.
Maybe it was the flashing lights.
It could have been. It was just like it used to mess with my head, and I couldn't even watch people
like
play.
the Captain Power TV series. Who remembers Captain Power?
Oh
I do. There was Captain. Wasn't there?
Captain N and Captain Power.
Captain N and Captain Power. There were the two. Yep.
Captain Power was the one where you had the weapons that you could actually fire at the screen.
Yeah.
But off topic. So I put Star Fox on there. Another game that I wanted to put, but I stuck with mostly Nintendo franchises, was the Tiny Toons Adventures.
I have that on my list. That's a good game.
Yeah.
Well, there's okay.
That was a really underrated platformer.
Just the base one, the one that's just called
the original Tiny Toons Adventures. Yes, that one was the best one. But yeah, that was a totally underrated game. The last good Superman game, The Death and Return of Superman, was.
You're stealing all my ones.
Okay, but let's talk about that then. Death and Return of Superman, the last good Superman game.
I mean, I still play that on my emulator because it has every SNES game, even the Japanese ones, and that's a really fun game, and the graphics are pretty good. It feels like Maximum Carnage, but with Superman.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally love the way the game feels, the way it plays.
There's a lot of superhero games on there that I didn't even know about. There's like Punisher, there's like Fantastic Four, there's all these games like
the Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin. I have that on the SNES list when we did it. Not on my
the Genesis,
Genesis. But Superman, Death and Return of Superman is like a really special superhero game.
Yeah,
it's easily up there in the greatest from that era of games.
I would agree with that. Any other?
Putty, give us one.
Yeah, let me go and give you my honorable mentions. So I got 5. Mine is.
You don't give us all of them at once.
Give us a couple.
Give us a couple.
So. Okay, I'll give you.
Gotta tease a little.
All right, so the first one is Super Mario.
Show a nip.
Okay, Super Mario Kart. I can see that.
Yep,
I have that on my list. Super Mario Kart is a classic.
Yep.
It started the whole Mario Kart franchise, right? The whole kart franchise.
Yep. My next one is Star Fox, of course, which we touched on that. Next is Killer Instinct. Like I have to go through fighting it. So Killer Instinct and both Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo were my cup of tea. I didn't want them on Genesis. They felt so much better in Super Nintendo.
My list is just shrinking by the second.
And then
all right, we better let Campo get some honorable mentions in.
Let me get this last one.
Go get one.
This is my last one, and you guys don't have this on the list, but it was an amazing game, and I wish everyone played it. It's called Uniracers.
I never even heard of that.
All right, so Uniracers was this game where you're actually you know those what do you call them, the one wheel vehicles, the little bikes that are the unicycles, yeah. So Uniracers,
Uniracers. My pop just exploded.
Okay.
Why did I shake my pop?
But here's the thing, Uniracers was so great because it was honestly kind of like Nintendo's answer to Sonic the Hedgehog. Actually, here's the reason why.
How is Uniracer though?
Listen, no.
Wait, I know what game you're talking about.
No, when you play Uniracers, the way it works is you're actually driving this unicycle, but what it does is that when you jump and take jumps, you do tricks in midair on the unicycle. And
I know exactly what game you're talking about.
Yeah, it looks like an ambient unicycle. But what was so great is it would flip around what looked like a candy cane, and you would do tricks off it, so it would like do corkscrews. It was like it was like playing Sonic on Nintendo, but it was just so weird and fun. Like you got to at least go find an emulator and play it. It is an addictively fun game. I played it like a crackhead. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, you play every game like a crackhead.
Oh no, this is what I played.
Look at that unicycle.
It was like
one wheel, baby.
Oh man, well the unicycle would even lean forward, so like the
90s.
The seat would have like a head, and it would spin its head and be like running. Like it was so cool.
When you described it,
now if the unicycle had legs.
Yeah, it was just, you gotta see it. It's so amazing. Like the animation.
If it had legs, was amazing. I'd get down. You know. Okay, so do you have any more?
That's it.
I got some more, but go ahead.
Okay, so I'll just name one because Putty said it. Oh my god, Super Street Fighter. Oh no, sorry, not Super Street Fighter. Street Fighter Alpha 2.
Yes,
But
I had that on the
that was
Saturn.
Super Nintendo. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I had that. I didn't know it was on Super Nintendo.
Yeah, it was like a late lifespan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had a lot of those Street Fighter games on Sega Saturn. A lot of those
Saturn
arcade fighters
or PlayStation. That's when they started bringing they're doing a lot of those.
Okay, well, I have one that you're gonna have, so we could just talk about it. If you don't have this, then I don't like you. Castlevania 4.
Oh yeah, Castlevania 4 is on my honorable mentions for sure. Castlevania,
man. Watch the anime; it's great.
Yeah, it is. That's fantastic. But Castlevania 4 was I guess Super Nintendo's answer to the Genesis one. Which one was it? Bloodlines?
Bloodlines.
Yeah. So because another great game, but
right.
I have the original Shadowrun on my honorable mentions.
Shadowrun is alright.
Wow. Wait, wasn't Shadowrun on other consoles too?
They did a remake on PC not that long ago.
That's what I'm thinking.
Didn't they make a game called The Shadow for the Alec Baldwin movie?
Yes, there was.
Well, they made Darkman too. Come on now, like what kid knows what
Darkman is? What about Zombies Ate My Neighbors?
Zombies Ate My Neighbors is on my list. That's a great game.
Yeah, Zombies Ate My Neighbors was a good game.
Turtles in Time. Yeah, that was gonna be on my list, but then I was like, no, I'm okay. I'm not gonna put it on my list.
Because that was kind of like the answer to Genesis's Hyperstone Heist, right?
I played Turtles in Time probably more than any game ever on SNES, but I don't feel like it's a game on my top 5.
Yeah.
You just made me think of another one, TMNT Tournament Fighters. I actually love.
That's only on Sega, isn't it?
No, it's on both consoles. I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
I think it was both.
I had it on Sega.
Yeah.
But okay.
Bart's Nightmare.
Oh my god. Yes.
That's a good one.
So, it's funny how you're sitting there thinking about, because then it does start making me think of other games. Like I actually had I can't remember the name of the game, but it came with the Super Scope and had these big robots that you would actually fight. I mean, I can't remember the name, but
oh my god, I know what you're talking about.
But I mean, going back, I think SNES had such a great run of Japanese RPGs, though. You had, like you said, Earthbound, the Final Fantasy series, the Chrono Trigger, Breath of Fire, like. The list can go on and on in terms of RPGs.
Also, just the entirety of its catalog is very diverse, and it has a lot of
for everybody.
It has a lot of good games. Where Sega has a lot of top tier and then a lot of garbage.
Yeah,
like Super Nintendo was more evenly spread out. Like
it was consistent.
You had a lot of good games. Like let's name some really bad games: Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, Home Improvement. I mean.
Basically, anything that was a movie tie-in.
Anything that said home was bad.
But can I just say this, since we were talking about the Japanese RPGs, can I just say a lot of these kids might not realize, but you guys know it as Square Enix. We know it as Squaresoft before they bought Enix and turned to Square Enix. Just so you know.
I know it as Sunsoft before.
Oh my God, Sunsoft!
When it had a little bat on it. That was their other company, though.
Sunsoft made a really great Batman game for the Nintendo.
They did. They made a good. They made a really good series for the Super Nintendo, didn't they? Didn't they have a whole run of games? Okay, I have a good game. X-Men: Mutant Apocalypse.
Yes.
Yep. Yes. Oh my God, that was such a great. I didn't even think about that.
Probably one of the best X-Men games ever.
Yep, I agree.
I also have Super Tennis.
I don't.
Sure. Super
Tennis. I wanted that reaction. Super Tennis.
That's your Uniracers. That's your Uniracers.
Exactly. Super Tennis is dope. So all I have left here that I wanted to open the floor about. Let's talk about Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah,
it's not on my list, but it was in my honorable mentions. All 3 are pretty good.
Oh God, like they withstand, even still this day withstand the times and everything. But it's like not even just visually, because I remember when I actually went to go for the Blockbuster game championship that they were doing at all the Blockbusters, I had a choice to actually play Sonic and Donkey Kong, and I picked Donkey Kong because the reason is because Donkey Kong Country was so easy to pick up and run through, but what made it so great was like all the hidden stuff. So like when I was doing the championship, that's why I wanted to play that game. I could just run through it. But when I played it at home, I loved finding all the nooks and crannies that you had to find secret entranceways by throwing a barrel at it or something like that. You know, things of that nature that made that game like. There was just, everything about that was exceptionally amazing, and I just love it. I love it.
Yeah, like I mean, and it's a formula that stayed the same throughout. Like then you had Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii. Yeah, and then you had probably one of the best Wii U games because the Wii U Tropical Freeze. Yeah, Tropical Freeze, which then they re-released on the Switch. And going back, I played that recently on the Switch. You realize how good of a game that was. It's just unfortunate that the Wii U was just a garbage console. Donkey Konga.
Donkey Konga.
That game is so popular, like crazy popular.
Well, even Donkey Kong 64, or let's not even forget Diddy Kong Racing alone.
Diddy Kong Racing is the most underrated kart racer ever made.
Oh my god, I played that way more than any Mario Kart. Yes.
Yeah.
But then you played boats and cars. Yeah, exactly.
And
Muppet Race Mania. No.
Race Mania.
But anyway, we got to get back to SNES.
Yeah, back to SNES.
The 3DS Donkey Kong, if you like original Donkey Kong, is that game. And I was upset because I was expecting to get like a modern game. And I started playing it. I'm like, this is just Donkey Kong Country. I'm like, what the fuck? Anyways, but...
Yeah. I wanted to touch on what was on my list that you guys didn't have on yours is F-Zero.
No, he did. He
you had F-Zero on your...
John
did. I didn't.
F-Zero, he did.
I'll talk about it. I played F-Zero. I prefer the more modern F-Zeros. I'm not a big F-Zero guy.
Okay.
I did like it, yeah.
It's too, like, rad. And,
too futuristic for you?
Yeah, like, but at that time, that was the game you played if you were cool. You didn't play Mario Kart because that was for kids. You played F-Zero.
So that's why I marked out a little bit when in Mario Kart 8, they added those F-Zero tracks.
Yeah. I mean, I give it. You guys were a little older than me at that point, so F-Zero would have been a way cooler game. For me, it was so fast-paced as a kid, I never got into it. I was like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
But like,
what about the Super Star Wars series?
Super Star Wars.
I literally have that on my PlayStation 4 and 5
I literally deleted that off my list because I remember playing it and getting so frustrated. I mean, the things you could do and the lightsaber, the way you could like bring out the lightsaber, that's cool.
Yeah,
the way you can bring out the lightsaber, it's really cool.
I think
when go ahead, sorry, buddy.
No, I'm sorry, I mean interrupt you. I just want to say I think my favorite levels was actually the Jawa's Sandcrawler, is when you had to actually climb up the Sandcrawler up the side of it, and like those back in that day when you like you would sit there as a kid going, oh my god, I'm in the Star Wars universe. As Luke Skywalker,
I will give it the experience and the graphics. 100%. It's a great game, but when you actually play it, it is so hard. It's so unbelievably, ridiculously hard. That's
what the debug menu was for.
Yeah, and it was just like, no. It's like, no.
My issue with that game, going back to what you were saying, quality-wise, gameplay-wise, I was angry at the fact that being a Star Wars purist, it's like, why doesn't this follow the story of Return of the Jedi? Or why doesn't this follow the story of Empires? So, because it created like a brand new story. Back then, the whole Star Wars expanded universe didn't exist until what's the one that came out? Shadow of the Empire came out for the 64. Exactly. But back then it didn't exist. So like when you wanted to play a Star Wars game, you wanted to play through the licensed movie, right? But I guess they didn't have the right to the
back then we didn't know any better than that either. To us, like playing a movie-based game didn't involve like going in a different path. It was just you're going to play through the story of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, a prime example is, and see, the thing is, that's the reason why I brought up the whole Sandcrawler, because it was something that did identify from the movies. You know what I mean? But that's
Luke is never crawling up the Sandcrawler in the movie.
No, no, I know that. Yeah, I'm aware of that. But I'm saying just seeing it. You know what I'm saying? That's my whole point. And that's what that happened to a lot of games. Think about Lion King. There was a lot of things in Lion King game, even though it was an exceptional game. There you saw creatures in there. You're like, I didn't see that in the movie.
We didn't even shut out any. I know we shutted them all out in the other one, but like the Disney games were dope.
Oh yeah, like
they were different. What I liked about Super Nintendo was that they were different than the Genesis games.
Yeah,
so
and there was the one really good one, DuckTales.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But again, Aladdin and Lion King were prime examples. Aladdin was totally different for both Genesis
and they're both great games.
Genesis one was way better.
Yes, they are superior, but they're still good games.
Exactly.
Wasn't there a Darkwing Duck game on Super Nintendo?
I think it was actually NES on that one. No, it might have been Super Nintendo. I can't remember exactly the time frame.
Either way.
Because it was like Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers. That was on NES, and that was a phenomenal game. Like, there were so many. There was a time when Disney actually knew how to get companies to make their games. Yeah. But then something happened down the road, and I don't know what happened. So.
Well, okay, come on. The Dream Drop, what the hell's that series called?
Oh, Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts is great.
Well, yeah, but that's also I look at that as differently. That's because that's when they started licensing out there. Because you got to remember, there was a whole situation where we had like Disney making their games and trying to, or getting other companies.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, a lot of these kids, we knew what LGN was, but these kids didn't know what LGN was unless they knew about AVGN. You know what I mean?
Well, AVGN now made you learn what LGN meant.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
but we had to live that.
GN,
I remember renting games, not looking at the LGN, going home, this sucks. It literally took me until the Super Nintendo to realize, oh, wait a second, that company sucked and everything.
Stay away from these games.
Yeah, exactly. And AVGN, of course, every video game nerd made that popular. So
so that's definitely a case. And shout out to James Rolfe.
Shout out to Earthbound World. All right, no one even had Earthbound World.
That was on my honorable mentions, but like
game,
I said, I only wanted to pick one Square Enix Sunsoft game on the list.
Is that made by one of them?
I believe so. I think that's Enix.
Yeah. And see, my problem is I have a lot that I want to add, but it's kind of like when we did the Genesis list. There's just so many games I played addictively that I would either rent and like beg my mom to buy me or something like that. That it was one of those situations where it's hard to make a list, even of 10, because 5 is too small for me. I'll be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, like just look at our honorable mentions list, right? Like there's just so many on there, right? And it's so different because we all had different gaming experiences.
Ready? I'm just gonna start naming games.
Yep.
Contra, NBA Jam, Pilot Wings. Okay.
Oh, I forgot NBA Jam. Oh my god.
Pilot Wings. Yes.
Super Punch-Out.
Yes.
I mentioned that one earlier. Yeah.
Kirby. We don't even have any Kirby games.
Nobody picked Kirby. Oh my god.
I'm surprised. Okay, Kirby has some dope ass games on this system.
Yes.
If you don't know, look it up. Kirby All Stars, I think it is, where you could play all the things. Speaking of this, the actual best Super Nintendo game ever made is Super Mario All Stars.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, because that's where you got Lost World.
But I didn't count it. I forgot to talk about it at the beginning. I didn't count it on purpose because it's not real.
That was one of the first remasters, if you want to think about it.
And
it's probably
No one brought up a puzzle game, and I know everyone brings up Tetris, but I'm going to bring up this one because I want to. There's a quick story about it.
Dr.
Yoshi's Cookie. All right. Yoshi's Cookie. We actually rented it, and I was playing my mom, and we were competing against her. She hated fighting me in it, so I went to go use the bathroom. Came back, she's playing solo, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I want to play a game by myself." I go, "Okay." This is at midnight. I am waiting until 5 o'clock in the morning going, Mom, when do I get to play? She's like, you get to play video games all the time. So I had to make that honorable mention of Yoshi's Cookie.
Yoshi's Cookie.
Game. Yes.
Okay, we'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
It's a fun game, though. If you actually played it, it's actually a fun game.
Yeah, and I think that's it for my list. Earthbound, there was it was called something else though in Japan, wasn't it? Wasn't it Mother or Mother 3?
Yeah, it was Mother 2.
Mother
2 is the one we got in the States because Mother 1 released in Japan.
And Mother 3 never came out except on a Game Boy on Japan. And then,
in Japan, yeah.
And then they gave you can get it here, but it's in Japanese.
In Japanese, yeah. So but the Earthbound is the Mother series in Japan. Yeah.
I mean, we're probably missing so many games, but the catalog for SNES is it trumps Sega by like so much that we can't even delve into half of it.
Yeah.
But can I
go ahead?
Well, I was gonna say, can I also mention that we could have mentioned also Game Boy games, so we bring Super Game Boy in, but that's
all. That's cheating.
No, Super Game Boy is cheating. That's a topic for another day.
I want to just shout this out because I know we talked about it, but like. I feel so bad that Turtles in Time is not on my list.
Mm-hmm.
I do too.
Yeah. And I just want you guys to know that realistically, Turtles in Time is like one of my favorite games ever made. It just didn't belong on my list.
Yeah. I get it. I understand. Yeah. It was in my honorable mentions too. So
I forgot to put on the honorable mentions because I deleted it off my list and then never put it. My toe. Big Apple. 3 a.m. Prehistoric Turtlesaurus. Okay, let's go.
All right then. On that note, guys, thanks again for joining us. Putty Man, Campo, you guys. Putty Man, you plug your stuff first.
Gamer Potheads.
Just
Google it, you'll find it.
Campo
Potheads.
And Campo.reviews.
You can find me in the grocery section where your pickles are sold.
Coming in this corner, weighing all of 3 ounces of a pickle.
Pickle Rick!
Pickle Rick!
Turn me over, Morty. Pickle Rick!
All right, guys. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.